What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another weekly WIP report. I am back once again on the Shattered Skies hardcore survival server, and I'm in the cockpit so far of the Broadside. This is turning out to be one of my favorite builds so far. So let's go ahead and get right into it and drop back out to the exterior here. So I'm building this as kind of a combat cruiser slash like cargo transport. So like a cargo combat cargo thing. Still working all that out. I don't know. I've had a ton of fun working on this thing so far. It's got an absolute ton of kind of halfway okay AMS turrets. I haven't done a whole lot of testing on them yet. They've got a decent range of motion on them, so that's good and well. I'm having a lot of fun doing some multi-layered detailing on the sides. These ended up looking basically like storm bolters, and even though I'm not much of a Space Marine fan, I still kind of like the bolters going on. Getting a little bit better at doing some layering on the armor. That's something that I have a tendency to build kind of from the inside out, and that makes it really difficult to do layering on the armor because I've already got a bunch of systems and stuff stuffed in there. So I'm making some progress though. I've got a few places that it's better than others, and you know what, I'll take what I can get because it's something that I'm still working on. I'm still learning to be a builder. The inside here in the back, of course, got room for some engines there, and the place where I really was trying to do kind of a garage door style door. I don't know if I mentioned that in the last video, but it did not work out very well. The logic and kind of lag and all kinds of too many moving parts to get it to space out properly without having a bunch of extra delay logic kind of focused in. I didn't really want to mess with it that much, but I do have some neat ideas. I want to put kind of a construction arm in there. I also think I can fit a small dropship and transform these guys over here into kind of cargo blocks. I was just messing around and seeing what kind of size I could get in there, and those are 5x5 by 5s, so I can get some neat looking cargo crates in there. I'm sure I can get something into a 5x5 by 5 that looks interesting. And moving on in from the docking and cargo bay, and we come to the reactor. Reminiscent of the larger docked reactors that I did in the old supercarrier that I was working on that did not make it very far at all. Additionally, I've got these kind of bays that I'm messing with. These are very, very rough right now. I don't know, they might be close to being done. I haven't decided yet, but for me, this is kind of just roughing out some shapes, kind of some jump drives or maybe some computers. I know I have jump drive modules in there, but maybe some mainframes. Who knows? Maybe we transport data as well as solid goods. A very multi-purpose kind of cargo thing. And working our way up here, so you can see straight ahead is the cockpit and the left and right doors. I don't really like having hallways that lead straight into it, but as much space as this thing does have for bits and gobs and things, it doesn't have a huge amount of space, so I didn't spend too much time with that. Upstairs, we have a whole lot of nothing, but we do have room, and that is something. So this is kind of where things are getting rough. I wanted to get this mostly roughed out before I did another WIP report. I was hoping to get to the point where I'd pretty much just be coloring it, but unfortunately, it's past a week, and I need to do an update. Plus, since I decided to do a larger interior, since I have so much extra room, it kind of is going to be a little bit longer project than I expected. So I figured I might as well go ahead, and I finished up the reactor mostly last night, and decided I would go ahead and show it off. One of the neat things, a trick that I did learn, is I believe green crystal armor, and then the Sintier crystal, the yellow crystal underneath it, gives it that kind of sickly yellow nuclear glow kind of thing going on. And did I miss a block there? No, I didn't. It's just the lighting. Alright, so yeah, I mean, got lots of room to mess around with. The this bottom area, which I didn't say anything as I flew through it. I kind of like this bottom area just because of this sloped middle hallway, and it's got 2 layers thick between the flooring, so I can do lighting above without having it bleed through the floor. That's another thing that I always end up doing like this. You don't want your floor to have lights all over the bottom of it, so I have enough room to cover it up with a second layer there. That light's just kind of a placeholder. And then have this top observation area as well. And this top observation area, it's a little bit more flat. It comes pretty much straight in from the doors, which is why I kind of like the bottom one more. Let's fly back over to it. This kind of sloped down. This is more, I don't know what I'm going to put in here or how. I still need to slope out the rest of the inside of the glass, the blue crystal armor here, so that way it smooths up a little bit better and looks a little bit nicer. Lots and lots of room to go. Let's see here. I'm going to pop back off real quick and jump into lighten mode. Don't mean to blind you all, but we can jump right here into the guns. And you can see I still even have tons of room in here, although I am running a little bit of the limits on the power supply, or the power generation. It's almost 1 million, isn't it? Or did I push it over? I can't remember. I gotta see here. Yeah, so not quite 1 million power, so it's almost capped out, not quite. If I pushed it any further, I would probably just go ahead and start blobbing on power now, which I might do a little bit. The thing is, though, is it's fairly well balanced, the guns. Let's see here. Push up. Plop off. This is home-based over there, so I can just plop away at it. So, let's see. Oh, I'm actually kind of surprised it's not draining quicker than... I thought it was draining a little bit faster than that before. Hopefully I haven't chopped any of my gun blocks up or anything. But, oh no, that was it. It's got enough to fire while it's sitting still, but then because it's got like a 2-to-1 thrust ratio right now, combat maneuvering does bite into the power supply. So I don't want, it's one of those things where a lot of people, tend to think about balancing just the weapons, and when you're sitting still, that's fine and all, but when you're moving around, it's important to keep that in mind, that you're going to be using power for your thrust, especially if you are like me and you love high thrust to weight ratios. Let's see, right now that is just over 7,000 mass and 10,000 thrust. So it's not quite 2-to-1 anymore. It's because I've been working on adding interior and things like that. We've got, like I said, I got a lot of room in the rear portions of the guns. I was thinking about adding an effect. They're what, like 70, 85% cannon right now, and just sitting at that. It's actually 5 cannon outputs for each one. There's one very large one in the middle that does like 2,000 damage, and the smaller ones deal, what is it? So it's 1,400 right now, and 150. So about 1,500 and 150. Big gun versus 4 small guns in each, kind of barrel. AMS turrets, plenty. Let's see, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, so 22, 28, I think. About 20, almost, I thought it was around 30. Then again, I may have previously been thinking about, I've got room for these 4 extra turrets. I was thinking about putting more, like, kind of swivel gun turrets on it. I'm not 100% sold on that. I may just change it over to lighting. I don't want it to detract too much from the large cannon, and I don't know, and the overall shape too. I don't want it to have, these dome turrets where everything else is kind of, got this angular, kind of squashed rectangular prism shape, so... Yeah, I know a little bit more in-depth than I generally do on a single ship, but it is literally the only ship that I have right now, other than my starter ship, which if you want a review on that, you can go check out the Starmade channel, and I'm not sure, I don't know if it was, okay, so I don't want to say who did it because I don't remember who did it, and I don't want to mess up the name and get it all wrong. So go check out the Starmade channel if you want to see the starter ship that we have on the new Shattered Skies server, and... yeah, so far, absolutely loving this thing. A little bit of detailing on the walls here. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to throw in there, if anything. I don't want to overdo lighting or anything like that. but I am trying to break it up a little bit and keep things flowing. God, I love this back room. I love how much room this ship has. So this whole back area, actually, before I added the reactor all the way back to that back wall there, that was all going to be some kind of giant cargo bay. And I was like, you know, I could put, like, not just a dropship, but I could put, like, a small drone fleet if I wanted to in here, honestly. At the size that we're at, I mean, I've 113 wide, 43 high, 97 long. I mean, it's a heavy cruiser if it were, you know, fully armed and armored. With the amount of room that I've cut into the back here, it does cut into room that I have for things like power supply, thinking, and shields. It's relatively low shields for its size. It's just over 500,000 shields with about almost 20,000 regen. I've cut a little bit into that. I plan on getting it back up over 20,000 regen, which is not anything great under fire. I mean, 10%, that's going to be 2,000 shields per second, and that's not a whole lot of DPS that this thing can handle. But it's got a relatively fast charge on the jump drive, and again, it's kind of a multi-purpose rolled ship. It's, you know, I like doing these kind of at least closer to realism type things. I didn't want it to be just a giant solid brick of guns and supply and systems, because I've done that. And, you know, sometimes when there's really heavy server load, or not server loads, but people on the server, you know, sometimes combat just isn't what I'm out seeking for. I'm really working on building style right now. I can always stuff more modules into space, and, you know, but it's not so easy to stuff other stuff into space. To try and think about what else can I put in this ship? How can I define its role? So kind of maybe a mercenary ship. I don't want to say pirate. It doesn't really look evil, but it definitely does look mercenary. It does look kind of industrial. And it's got some smooth spots still. It is still fairly rectangular on this top portion that goes around the center area. But I did space the reactor just over this back area here, which I thought was kind of neat. So it kind of is a little bit power supply. I might extend it back up through the rest of this here, but it does come through the bottom into that, right into the center of that area. So I might dome that out a little bit. Who knows? Other than that, I'm loving this ship. It's been an awesome build to go through so far. Having tons of fun. And it's been really hard for me to get in and do a recording because I keep on wanting it to be done before I record it. But this is a work in progress report, so I should show it as a work in progress. And I'm just learning tons on this guy too. It's got, I think one of the things that I like the most about it is every direction that you look at it from, it's got a good silhouette. And that's something that I've really been trying to work on. A lot of the other quantum ships were very flat, but, you know, have a good silhouette from one side, but you look at them in the front and they don't have that great of a silhouette. And this guy's kind of unique as far as builds that I've done, because it's got a really good shape to it. It's not overly flat. I mean, it is a flat build because I like to build thin, but it's not so much so... Whoops, I keep on cutting through that guy. It's not so much so that it's not too blocky. It's rectangular, but it's not chunky. It's a little chunky. But that's just because she's a big bird. Anyway, getting off topic. I like the silhouettes. I like the way it looks. I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. Get out there and, you know, try to stretch your build style. Try to do something. Force yourself to do something different. Force yourself to delete a whole chunk of your ship and then, like, build around it. I did that a few times with like this kind of archway here. It goes under. I deleted a good chunk of, you know, how I had this gun looking for a little bit. I changed it like 5 times. I went through and spent the time to add this second layer of angling that's spaced back in here, this whole portion. And that took an incredible amount of time, and it is literally just a bunch of blocks that serve no other purpose than to be, you know, kind of break up the visuals a little bit. And it added this kind of neat raised platform for my other AMS turrets. But yeah, challenge yourself. Make some decisions that work with a mistake. Like, if you have a mistake and you just, like, plop a block down, you know, but instead of just like, no, that's not what I wanted, go in and keep it and be like, what can I do with this mistake? Can I do so? Does this actually look better? Because sometimes it does. I've a ton of blocks on this ship have been like, whoops, didn't mean to put that there, but I like it, so I'm going to keep going. So I recommend doing that and enjoy your builds. The more you enjoy what you're working on, the better it's going to turn out, the better you're going to feel as you work on it. Hopefully I can get some more work into this guy, and I don't know if it's going to be done by the time I show it off next. I've got some plans for some other things outside of Starmade, so I try to do these once a week, and if I end up having too much life stuff get in the way, it may not get painted. I should be able to get the construction arm and the rest of the interior, hopefully. That's probably going to be where my next update is. We'll see. And then I've got to build some kind of little shuttle for this thing. Who knows? Anyway, to everybody else out there, feel free to come and join us, join me, rather, on the Starside server, which is the Shattered Sky server. And information for that's in the description down below. If you like it, then good. I hope you liked it. And if not, then tell me why. Tell me what I can improve on. I'm always okay to take criticism. I'm not going to get offended. And for everybody else out there, keep building.